Okay, so I'm back again with. Let me remove it. Yeah, so I'm back again with another new video. So, in my last video, I said that from this video, I'm gonna start explaining. Let me get this. Why I installed or ported Ubuntu Touch in my uh, this phone, Moto Z2 Play. So, with that out of the sight, let's get started. So, first of all, why would you want to install any other operating system except the one that came with your phone? So there can be many reasons. So I have just arranged an article from its FOSS. So here's that. It's saying the open source mobile operating system alternatives to Android. So we have many alternatives for those of you who don't know that in mobile phones also we install operating systems. So those operating systems are quite different than Android based if you are completely moving away from Android. So okay, so um, if I just explain a bit later, this part explain a bit later, I think that will be okay. So first of all, let me again start from the very basics. So in our phones, uh, when we boot it up, we get Android as in the primary operating system, mostly Android or iOS because it's popular. Windows Phone was there, but we all know what happened to it. So except this Android and iOS platforms, we have several other attempts of uh, rejuvenating old mobile phones or giving life back to old phones as well as newer phones as an alternative operating system for our day-to-day use. Now most of them, not most of them actually, all of them are focused on privacy extensively. So that's the main selling point, that they are privacy focused. So the first alternative we have, which is the second most popular. Yeah, I'm saying that it's second most popular because till now I know people have heard about Ubuntu Touch, but not many people have heard about Plasma Mobile because they don't invest in marketing that much. Yeah, marketing matters when you are, you know, want to gather a large amount of people. Okay, so first of all we have this Plasma Mobile. Then we have Post Market OS, aiming for a 10-year life cycle of smartphones. I think this is a joke. Yeah, because there's really no modern smartphone which can clearly run a post-market OS. And not only this, the open source phone, that is the Pine phone and Libre phone, they also don't have the 100% hardware support for post-market OS, as far as I know. I mean, there are very crucial bugs like whenever you let's say during video playback you make calls, then your speaker and microphone goes funny. So kind of like that. So I'm not actually 100% sure regarding that. I haven't tried or tested, but I've heard reviews regarding this. So it's also based on this Alpine Linux, as they stated in this article. So there's that. Then there's this Pure OS by Librem. So Ubuntu's convergence effort didn't make it into reality that much, but here Librem, they really tried their best to make the best of both worlds. So you can give kudos to them. Then there's this Ubuntu Touch, which I ported myself, and I'm a big fan of Ubuntu Touch and their efforts. So and it's crowd-funded. Okay, so it's not a corporation company or sorts, because the original Canonical team, they dropped Ubuntu Touch as a primary project, and it was picked up by UBports Foundation or association, whatever you can call it. They arranged developers based on the crowdfunding done by people, and actually the people are funding this project now all alone. So if you want to support this project, go and donate to their on the page. Okay, then there's this Loon OS. This is also no longer maintained because you know it's so 25 2005 sort of like scene. Okay, it was released in last release was at 2018, but it looks like 2005. Okay, so there's that. Another was this Tizen operating system. It was very much pushed by Samsung, but it also failed. Okay, so there's Mobian. I tried actually before going into Ubuntu Touch. I planned on porting Mobian, but Mobian looked a little bit. It was a little bit lacking on the developer's guide, the docs. So I couldn't port it. That's sad because I will try to port it on my next attempt. So once all of these are uh, non-Android based operating systems done, then we have this Lineage OS or Replicant. I haven't tried Replicant yet, but someday. Now slash E, uh, you will already know about E. If you don't know, you can just Google for, or you can search on YouTube. The Linux experiment has very good videos regarding EOS. Now I haven't tried. No, I had tried EOS personally, like when it was just released, but now I don't know. I have no idea. Then there's Graphene OS, about which I'm going to talk later, and various other operating systems which focus on privacy but are based on Android. Okay, there's also this Kai OS, which was actually a reborn of the Firefox OS, which was for mobile. Yeah, it was a Firefox OS. And there's also this Sailfish OS. Now it's partially open source and partially closed source. So what does this mean is that it has a corporation backing up, it has a funding, it has a sales model, which we can call it. So by which it can go, it can keep on its development actually. So it's the main thing which makes our that Helium port actually successful. So I will talk about this a little bit later. So, and we're done with the article. Now, uh, let me just, yeah, okay. So let me just talk with opening this Ubuntu Touch page. So before porting, one thing you should keep in mind, that this operating system is itself in beta stage. So if you are going to port a beta stage software into an unsupported device, so you are like testing an alpha build. Means it won't work on the, means if it doesn't work, you can think that you are just normal. Now if it works, it's a miracle. Okay, so if everything works, I don't know, you can just contact the developers and they might put it on the list of, means, supported devices, because it's very rare that 100% each and every device will be ported in the first attempt without any modification to the kernel and everything. So now me, now I am a very much noob in this regard, this porting and all, because I'm still a college student and everything. So I am being a noob. I tried to make this Helium port of Ubuntu Touch, which was a bit of a new thing for me and a bit tricky. So I tried my best, and so far I could get a few things work and few things still don't work. Like audio doesn't. It's completely deaf device. Okay, so deaf, not mute. Yeah. Uh, so no audio output is being received from the phone speaker, but yeah, on my device I can connect a Bluetooth headset or a, earbuds or something like that, and that plays very well. So pulse audio and drivers are working correctly, I can say. Just I think I have issue with vendor blobs, so I will talk about this a little bit later. Now moving on to the third part. Mainly Sailfish OS did the drive of porting their operating system to Android based phones, like their flagship Xperia X series. I think with Sailfish X, um, let me just pull it up. Okay, this site is going funny. I mean, I don't have so much slow internet. I don't know what's happening. Okay, so as you can see here, all the links will be in the description below. Okay, so don't worry about that. They have like an Android app support in that, in their Sailfish OS device, Sailfish OS operating system. So as you can see here, you can see the supported devices. it's Xperia X, Xperia 10, and Xperia 8 X82. Some other Xperia devices are also supported, but they are not like 100% officially supported. So as you can see, all these devices are older Android devices. So they were the first to find out the way to port their Sailfish operating system, which is not Android based, into a Android based phone, into a phone that was made for Android operating systems. So they laid the foundation basically. So moving on, here you can go through the article much deeper, that why we should respect our privacy and everything, camera infrastructure. Okay, so yeah, what else do we have? I think we don't have nothing more, just basic stuff. And yeah, Selfish OS looks damn pretty. Okay, it's very much pretty to me. I don't know what about you. Okay, now moving on to this Ubuntu Touch. So currently Ubuntu Touch is being officially supported and ported to 58 devices. Now I am ignoring tablets because no one literally uses, in the sane mind, uses tablets as the daily driver currently. All of them use mostly the people. Okay, so let me be not biased. All of the people I know personally who use tablets use iPads. So you can't port on iPads. So I'm just skipping the tablet section. But on devices, it's being ported on approx 50 devices. I think one more device will be ported for sure. So this, let me pull up this first device. The what? Okay, what happened? What just happened? I think there's a bug in this web page. Okay, so we have this Mi A2 device. You can see, you can look up on the internet. This is a fairly older device, like 2 years old. Fairly no, a fairly new device. What am I saying? Okay, so this is a fairly new device, and most of the functionality is already working except the hotspot is finicky some kind. Okay, so and it is being officially, the official installer is available for this device, so you can just try it out anytime. So what about devices which are not supported officially? Even some official devices such as let me take Mi A3. Okay, this is overall progress is just this much, so it is not near. Then let's say 4x. Okay, no, I'm just searching for one device where they have listed everything. Here you can see it's early development, it's marked as early development. It has notification LED not working, hardware video playback not working, Nbox is not working, and many other things not working. Okay, so why Nbox? Okay, what is Nbox? Nbox allows you to run Android apps inside this Ubuntu Touch device. So my device was Moto Z2 Play, and you can see here Moto Z2 Play is not there in the official devices, and no other unofficial ports are also available for this Moto Z2 Play device. So what I did was that I had a crazy afternoon. I thought about that why I can't port Ubuntu Touch to my phone. Then I realized that why can't I? Let me just read the docs. So okay, so this is the Graphene Lineage OS. So let me just shift that. Okay, so here I have pulled up this Ubuntu Touch UBports doc. So it explains how to port. I will provide the links to all of this in the description below so that you don't miss anything. So in this section, whatever they are telling, it will not work. Okay, trust me, it will not work. If your device is of Android 9, now this will work there straight away. Okay, at least not for me. It didn't happen for me. I followed this guide and end up with a phone with no this GUI. Okay, it booted into the SSH environment. Okay, so I'm saying you don't follow this guide from line by line, because it was mainly developed for Halium 7.1 and Halium 5.1. Mostly Halium 7.1, which is based on I think Android 7, and Android 7, yeah, 5.1 is obsolete. 7.1 and 9 are currently on under development. Okay, 9 is still finicky. 7.1 is like 100% working. So if you have a device with Lineage OS 14 support, I think 14, yeah, I think 14, Lineage OS 14 support, you can port Halium like the 7.1 way. So this is not for those devices. This guide will be for devices which have a Lineage OS 16 built. Okay, so you can see here the main thing which we need is the you touch rootfs, the root file system. Now if you have no experience with Linux, I would suggest that you study about Linux a lot, because without studying about Linux you can't start building, because you need a very strong knowledge on the core system components. Okay, at least intermediate level knowledge. Okay, so what do we need? We need the Ubuntu Touch file system. We need a Halium build. Now what is Halium? I will talk about it a little bit later or in the next video. Then we have this, what is called the vendor blobs. Now let me first start with the vendor blobs. For example, I have this phone. Okay, I have this here dual flash and a camera. Okay, and in the front also I have some few sensors as well as a camera and LED flash. Now how will two Android phones running the same operating system, I'm not good with English that much, so let me just rephrase it. Think of it such that Android 9 is a single operating system. It's running on both a device not having this front flash and all gimmicks, as well as a device running more stuff such as quad cameras or any other sensors, such as some phones I think from Xiaomi had this IR sensor and all. So ever thought that how these are running? So these are running by these vendor blobs. So what are these vendor blobs? These are simple binaries or pre-compiled binaries or programs which allow the primary operating system to interact with the hardware in a kernel level. So now here comes the issue. No vendor provides free and open source binaries to be incorporated to the kernel, because that's just business. Okay, this is business. So what we need to do is, we have this Halium thing, which is a container. Think of it as a container which contain the boot and system images. The vendor blobs are here, Halium here. Halium talks with these vendor blobs and Ubuntu Touch sits on top of it. So think of it as Halium being an abstraction layer. Okay, so it's like a sandwich. Ubuntu Touch communicates with Halium. Halium conveys its messages to the vendor blobs. Via vendor blobs, your action is performed. So vendor blobs are the crucial thing. So first duty is, you need to gather your vendor blobs, then you need to gather your Halium sources, then finally you need to proceed towards porting Ubuntu Touch. So currently you can see Ubuntu Touch is for this Halium 9 version and Lineage OS 16 only. Android 10 support is very much on like alpha stage, not near to even alpha stage, so it has like various problems. So I won't suggest going in for the alpha builds of Android 10. So now there's some guide like preparations and all. So and here you can see it's showing preparations. So first we need to determine our device specifications. Now I already know my device specifications, and it's also saying that please refer to the Halium porting guide for porting Halium. And first of all, you need an unlocked bootloader, installed TWRP, and recommended PC, blah blah blah. So these two things I'm not going to show you just right now, because this will be a separate video on its own. So they tell you to do the build on Ubuntu 20.04, and I also recommend you to do it on 20.04 image. So I have a Docker image up and running, with which I completed my build. So let us proceed to the next section. Now I am skipping Halium 7.1 since it won't be of any use to us. Now when you open this Halium 9, you will see that it's saying doc is not complete. Okay, click on this GSI porting and it will say work in progress. It's not working. Okay, so everything you need to figure out on your yourself. Okay, so I did it and I'm going to show you that how to do this. Now this method which I followed might work on your device, might not work on your device, so take at least 1 or 2 weeks in your hand before trying to, you know, deep diving. So let me just close it for the time. Now what is a GSI image? So from the official Android docs, a GSI is a system image with an adjusted configuration for Android devices. It's considered a pure Android implementation with an unmodified AOSP code that any Android device running Android 8.1 or higher can run successfully. This is some meta shit, okay? So I'm just going to explain you in simpler terms. Think of it like what I told about vendor blobs. So let's say okay, so it's just made in such a way that okay, let me give a better example. Suppose you had a device from like 4 years ago. Why that phone was not given Android 10? Can you guess? The main thing is that the company moved on to some new device and stopped making the vendor blobs, stopped updating the vendor blobs for that old device which was like 4 years ago. So due to that reason, the older vendor blobs are not compatible with the recent kernel changes. So that's why they fall back, and thus you also can't port Android or AOSP to your older device uh, because only due to the vendor blobs issue. Okay, otherwise you can port. I'm sure you can port. Maybe there will be some bugs and very much laggy hardware, laggy software due to the hardware limitation, but I don't think that will be a limiting factor. So as you can see here also, GSIs are running VTs on VTs and CTCs on GSI tests. So what are VTS? VTS is the vendor test suite. You can see here companies use GSI to test this vendor compatibility or incompatibility. Okay, so for that you need a treble compatible device. So as you can see on XDA developer site, there will be written on the side of the ROMs like treble official supported. So this is that if your device has treble support, then it's very much qualified for this build. So other things are not that much necessary. If you want to read, you can read. Just find out that whether your device has a treble supported ROM or not, lineage OS especially. Okay, so proceeding further, the other things are not that much, so just skip this section. What phones can use Halium 9 and GSI? As I told earlier, Android 8 and later phones with a vendor partition which will contain the vendor blobs qualifies for this Halium build. Yeah, so there's that. Now what do we need? Yeah, see kernel patching section to keep in mind the Android 9 firmware. Yeah, okay, I will discuss about this a little bit later. So now this link, let me open it here. So there's a generic guide they have posted here, like format data in custom recovery, flash Halium IMG which you are going to build, then flash the GSI zip which is right here. This latest is latest till date, but it's updated way back, so it's like few months older and having a old root FS. This is the GSI build which I did initially. I have now migrated from this GSI build, but for the sake of this video and for testing purposes, I'm saying regarding this GSI build itself. So let me just close it here. Then they say that there's two ways of building this kernel. First using the Halium boot option, which I went with eventually. Then these things are not that much essential. I mean, not it, these things didn't need manual intervention, at least in my case. So proceeding further, the Halium 9 documentation. Now this is the Halium 9 link which is provided here. I have just opened it earlier from the ease of access. Okay, so here you can see there's written basic steps: initializing the repo, creating a local manifest, apply hybrid patches to it, and finally just making sure your tree doesn't have this Java dependencies. I mean, where is it written? Yeah, remove Java dependent parts, as well as to point your build to the Halium.mp file. Okay, so with that aside, now if your device has system as root AB, you need to apply this patch. My system is not, my system just have one partition, not this AB device. So then you need to do this command, your device code name. You will apply your device code name. For example, we have Albus, so this Albus. Then we have this make Halium boot. Now instead of make, I would suggest you use MKA. Why MKA? Because MKA uses all of your codes automatically. Without it, you need to specify like dash G, dash J, sorry, dash J, then your number of threads. Okay, so Irfan has an generic system image for this build. Also, I showed you the generic system image, the GSI, which you can use earlier and which I used actually. So there's that. Now I'm not going to discuss all of this in one single sitting, because that will be very much boring for you all. You can see here it's now currently 26 minutes long approx. So if I go on explaining each and everything, it will be very much tiring. So for so keeping aside GSI, I will start from Halium in my next video, and on the next video we will start on how to apply all of this. Okay, so take care, bye bye, and stay safe.